just to take a moment and to just be present. Not to rush into the next thing and then the next thing and the endless chain of actions or mindlessness. Today I had a beautiful meditation and I felt inspired. I felt inspired by going within. I remember Jesus in one of the lessons actually addresses these, and the way he defines going within is actually going beyond the ego thoughts. That's how he defines going within. Going beyond the ego ideas, ego attack thoughts, ego attachments, ego images. Going to the resting place in our mind. And in my case today, I didn't even try to go beyond anything, because I think the true practice does not really take much effort. Again, I remember Jesus saying that, encouraging us in another lesson, which I don't remember the number, but he says, just repeat this idea at the beginning of your practice period and then trust. And I'll allow your mind to take the natural way, the way that it knows. Allow your mind, have enough trust in your mind that it will take you to the natural state of mind. Which that actually means that you don't have to make effort, that this meditation and inner practice and inner deepening does not take effort and much rules. And I think Jesus wants us to develop this trust in our mind, because I think many of us have this distrust, because in our mind there are these ego thoughts presented seemingly, and because they seem dark and intense, we have this distress in our mind, and we project onto it this idea of instability and intensity. But what Jesus wants us to do is to come to the trust with our mind, when we can allow it to soar high above the ego thoughts. If we come to this inner space with the intention that we want to be guided, then we can trust, we can allow the mind to go on its ways, however it may look. And so today I didn't really try to do anything with it. I was just closing. I had my eyes closed, and I was just sitting. And it felt so powerful. I did not even think about today's lesson. You may, if you find yourself distracted and lost in ego thoughts, that's wonderful. Jesus always says, repeat today's idea again if you feel lost, so that you can help the mind focus. But otherwise you can just sit and rest, your eyes closed, and observing your inner space, and not necessarily thinking how you should be feeling, what you should be experiencing, what thoughts you should be having. just sitting there. And it felt so powerful, this tiny shift of going within, turning the mind within, and becoming more observant of the inner space, of thoughts, of what is happening in the mind, of being present with myself, with the mind. It felt so powerful and so fulfilling. And I remembered the first time I started meditating, I think the very first time, I didn't know, I think when I was young, I didn't know anything about spirituality. I was far removed from those ideas. I didn't know anything about spirituality, so I found out, what I found out about meditation was just close your eyes and look into the darkness. So that's what I decided. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do that. And the very first experience of meditation was I closed my eyes and all of a sudden, oh my God, I started looking at my thoughts and I felt like this huge energy released from my mind. Almost like I opened up this pocket of power of my mind, just through going within and looking at my mind. It felt so powerful, it was so tangible and palpable. I was like, oh my God, why did I have never thought about these? How could I not come to that realization that I needed to go within? I never thought about that. I was very observant. I wanted to find out something. I didn't know what. So I was very observant. I was observing people, and I thought I would find the truth or some kind of spark in others, in something else. So I was very observant. I was listening always. I was noticing, sometimes people speak, but there are other feelings underneath. I was very observant, but I never thought about going within. But just when I went within, I just felt this huge power of my mind released. And I felt like, oh my God, the whole new world opened up in my mind. And today when I was sitting there, that's how it felt. It felt like not doing anything, not feeling any kind of pressure and not trying to do any kind of technique necessarily, but sitting and observing the inner space, just sitting, just turning within, that gaze that is always like that, and turning it like this. That is enough. And I felt like this is forgiveness. This is freedom. This is liberation. This is everything. Just turning within is everything. Turning within means siding with Jesus, siding with the Holy Spirit, deciding to remember God, deciding to remember mind, deciding to experience connectedness with everything and everyone. Going within, turning within, is choosing another way of living, another way of seeing. Is choosing to have the experience of who I really am, my true identity. It's just simple turning within, and it's a choice that is made for the truth. And it's the experience that is so fulfilling. Nothing of this world can offer that. And no freedom of the body can offer this freedom of the mind, this fulfilling experience of the true freedom. This is freedom, this is loosening. Whenever you turn within, you release the chains from your mind. And it's felt so powerful. I just wanted to invite you to do the same, to practice the same thing, the simple turning within. That is so, so powerful.